As a small biz pro, so we grow using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today, folks, we're going to have an amazing show. We have two special guests in our studio today, folks, and they're pretty much in my industry. So I'm really looking forward to this interview with them today, folks. But in the meantime and in between time, I want to bring forth my co-host and say, hey, co-host, how you doing today?
Hey, co-host, how are you? Happy Resurrection Weekend and Good Friday. That's what today is.
I was trying to figure out when it was because I'm going, wait a second. It was like 2-3 weeks ago. I see people with those little black X's on their forehead. And I'm
Yeah,
going,
for Ash Wednesday, that
yeah.
is
So I said,
usually
okay,
before.
Easter is coming up. So when is that? Because see, here in the U.S., you don't really know. I don't know. But in Jamaica, you know, because
Oh,
we celebrate it in so many different ways. Because you got Good Friday. Good Friday is a holiday in Jamaica. Everything's shut.
it used to be it used to be kind of a holiday,
Yeah,
especially for those that are Catholic,
yeah,
and really observe.
yeah.
Yeah, and and people will take off and go to church and so forth.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
That's
but
what
not
happened in
as much
Jamaica.
anymore. It used to be the pandemic kind of changed everything, I think. But yeah, it used to be
Oh
people
yeah.
would do that. Yeah.
So on Good Friday, everybody stays home. They go to church. Then you come back from church. You have some nice eatings. Like everybody get together, like how you guys do Thanksgiving here.
hmm
We get together and we have like cheese and bun, right?
What is cheese and bun?
Well, cheese,
Oh, cheese,
cheddar,
but
like
what's
cheddar.
so it's like a biscuit? No, biscuits are
No, no,
cookies for you.
bun is like a sweet bread type deal.
Oh, okay,
It's
so
like
like
a loaf
cake.
of bread, but it's sweet, right? It's got
Okay, okay,
raisins in it and stuff like that, right?
okay,
So we have that, and then we'll cook food, fish, primarily fish. We don't eat
okay,
meat around about Easter time, because you can't eat the Lord's flesh. you have
okay,
to eat,
okay,
you have to eat fish. Stay away from the
okay.
Lord's flesh, right? So that's what we do. We'll eat fish from Friday all the way to Monday, because Monday we celebrate too. So we celebrate Friday, Sunday, and Monday. So
Oh,
Sunday is Easter Sunday, Monday is Easter Monday. So everything is shut
okay,
down on Monday, you know.
okay,
So
okay.
when I came here, it's like I was a fish out of water, but it's like, hey, what about Monday? Aren't we gonna celebrate? Are we gonna shut
No,
things?
here is done on, but the one, like I said, if you're really religious and you'll do the seven last words on Friday,
Yeah,
and then on Saturday, of course, Saturday for the kids, there are Easter egg hunts and things like that.
yeah.
And then of course church is on Sunday, and then you have Sunday dinner. So that's it, and then that's the end of Easter. Now Easter has come extremely late this year.
Oh, that's
Um,
why I was confused.
yeah, because sometimes it's like if it's not in the latter part of March, then it's usually the first couple of weeks, the first 2 weeks. One, the Palm Sunday is the first Sunday, and then the second Sunday is Easter Sunday. But it's extremely late. And then the other thing, school used to help you stay on top of that as well.
Yeah.
But the schools with the kids this year, they are out. Some were out in March, the
Hmm.
last week of March. Some was out the first week of March, April, and then some was out the second week, and then there's some that's out right now, and they
Yeah.
go back, and so you just all confused with what is happening. But my family, my brother-in-law is going to. He always cooks on holidays, so
Yeah.
today, because tomorrow's a real crazy busy day, we are going to. I went to harvest greens, and so he will have them fresh to cook on Sunday. So from our collards from our garden, and then I'm gonna take one to a client of mine's, and then some family friends are gonna come by and pick up a pack. So we had a whole bunch of greens to give away today. So that's kind of what Easter Good
At,
Friday is for
at
me.
least you got your own personal chef.
Yes, we have our own personal chef.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. So I'm still searching for one of those, man. I'm looking for someone who can really cook,
Yeah,
someone who
he's
can
our
cook veggies and make it taste really good. That I just want to
regular.
have veggies and nothing else.
Yeah, he will do his he I think we're having well he usually ham and I think that's what a ham and sometime a prime rib on Easter, I think.
See, that's another thing. In Jamaica, for the most part, most of us don't eat pork in Jamaica, right?
Okay.
It's like a biblical
Oh,
thing.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
especially the dreadlocks, the Rastas, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, no.
Especially them, they don't eat pork. They don't even eat meat. So if you see a dreadlock here in the U.S. eating pork, that's not a real Jamaican, not
Okay,
a real
okay.
Rasta. The counterfeit
But
Rasta.
mostly you guys your diet is mostly consisting of fish, right?
Fish and well, meat too. We have curry goat,
Oh,
oxtail,
right.
that kind of thing. But as far as pork, man, we're not touching that. So and especially Easter time, you can't touch the pork because in the Bible it said that the pork is unclean, man. Because remember when
Yeah, it does.
yeah when
It does
Jesus
say that.
cast out the sin out of those hooligans.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It definitely does say that.
He drove it into these other hooligans over there, right? So they had the worms and the swine. What do you call it? The diseases from the pork. It went
Because the
into
poor because
those. Yeah,
they couldn't well, and that's also goes along with the Hebrews and the Judaism. They couldn't
yeah,
you couldn't refrigerate pork, and pork
yeah,
has to can't it unless it's what do they call it when they put the salt on it, unless it's treated, then it can't
yeah.
stay outside of a refrigeration, and so then it will give you some sort of one of
And
those
even
food.
even until today, a lot of people don't admit this, but even until today, pork it has that one tapeworm in there
Oh
that when
yeah.
you eat it, it goes into your brain. A
Well,
lot of people
if
die
you eat
from
it
that.
if you eat it raw, and
No,
some
no,
people
no. It doesn't have to be raw because pork has to be cooked at a certain
yeah
temperature. I think between 140 degrees and 160 will
yeah
kill all the impurities. But
yeah
some people cook it in less than 140 degrees, so that worm still lives in there
yeah right
at
right
less
right it
than
does.
140 degrees, and that's what people eat. Like you see those tacos and those things that you see on the street side. Uh,
Uh-huh.
not good
Yeah,
for you.
I don't eat anything off
Right.
the street.
Well,
I'm
a lot. If you
sorry.
notice, a lot of people. You can ask anyone who've eaten tacos from the street vendors and all of that.
Mhm.
They know someone who had that worm in their brain that killed them.
Yeah,
I know
I've
someone right now in Canada that's dying from that worm.
oh wow.
Oh yeah, because he eat porks a lot. Eat pork a lot.
A lot.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, you got to I don't eat anything. I'm not into raw nothing. So
Yeah.
I do no raw food whatsoever.
Yeah.
Um
Because I don't know when the temperature is 140 or 160 when people are cooking. I
mhm.
said, don't bring that near me. Keep
Yeah,
it
no,
over there on that
you
side.
gotta, and you gotta, you gotta trust the people that you eat food from because you don't know
That's
what
another
they're.
thing. That's another thing I want to say. I don't trust anyone when it comes to food. I'm gonna tell you why.
That's
Okay?
how my brother-in-law is. My brother-in-law only eats his. That's why he cooks
Yeah,
because he didn't eat
exactly.
anybody else's food. That's why he does all the cooking in the
That's why I
household.
cook too, because I don't trust anyone who cooks. Because two things. One, I had two exes. No, I don't eat pork, and they prepared pork for me.
Oh, well,
What
that
does
was
that
not.
say? Now they're trying to kill my ass, right?
I don't know whether they were trying to kill you or what they were trying to do, but obviously something was going on.
They, they
If they
prepared
knew.
they prepared pork, but because I kind of know what the consistency, the meat consistency looked like, I knew it wasn't beef, right?
Oh,
So I
okay.
said, "What is that?" She said, "Pork." I said, "Don't you know I don't eat pork?" Well, I figure I could give it to you this one time, and it wouldn't. I said, "What?" I said,
Wait a
So
minute. Did
yeah,
they? Because you could have been allergic to it, which would have
that's
been
what
really
I'm
bad.
saying.
So
And
they
I am allergic to those type of
okay.
things.
So
I
so
had it when
she
I was
so
a
that
kid.
was yeah that was
Yeah,
something was wrong with that right there.
yeah. I had
They
it when I was a kid, man, and that thing made me sick. My mom had
oh
to take me to
okay
the
yeah
hospital, man, and doctor said, "Don't give him any more pork." You know.
okay yeah
So
yeah I don't know Gilbert. I would hate to think that somebody was trying to kill you, but
trust me, people do.
they were having
I,
they were obviously a little upset with you. Let's just say that.
I, I'm gonna say this one thing that I'm gonna let it go. We're gonna go into the other segment, right? If certain people want to get rid of you, all they have to do is invite you to dinner.
Yeah, that part's very true. Yeah, and that's kind of in.
so, so that's why I don't eat from anyone.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
No,
cooking, then I'm going to
yeah.
a restaurant where I know, I can trust their food. But I'm not going to anyone's house.
Well, actually, there are quite a few people that share that same a feeling that you have that
Yeah.
they don't know who they are. They're not and but my brother-in-law for sure he doesn't eat potluck. He'll take his own and eat his own little
Oh no.
foods, but
We don't do
he is
potluck.
not he is not doing that. So I hear last night the Glack had their event and you attended
Oh yeah,
their
it was a
gala
great
last night.
it was a great event, man. It was the room was packed, which I didn't think would, but all the tables were
We're
packed, and
full, okay.
yeah,
And it was
and
at
then
the
it was at
Marriott.
the JW
Yeah,
Marriott.
yeah, because that's usually where they
Yeah,
go.
so it
Yeah.
was great. I had a lot of prime contractors there who were all getting awards. That's the only thing though that
Yeah, they do. Whew, they award everybody in the darn city.
well,
What's
not everybody, certain people, and that's where my little concern comes in because maybe because I'm a small business advocate, I want to
uh-huh.
see small businesses on those stages too. You know, I don't want to see the usual suspects up there. I don't want to see the primes. I don't want to see the contract providers. I mean, yeah, you can have some contract providers up there, but those are only the people getting the awards. What about the small businesses that's been, working hard
Yeah,
or elevating
but
their business?
from a nonprofit standpoint, I'm gonna tell you why that is because they're the ones that are putting one
Sponsor.
buying the big tables,
Yeah,
and they're the ones that are sponsoring
I
it.
get that. But they could
Yeah,
still slip in a couple small businesses in there here and there and say, hey, let me recognize this small business. They've been doing very well. They're growing, and we've been supporting them. So let me recognize this small business as most improved small business of the year, or something like that. You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
yeah.
that's the only part, and I'm not trying to criticize any programs or anything like that. I'm
Hmm.
just saying if it were me, I would sliding those small businesses and recognize them because we want to encourage these small businesses to come to these events to help grow their business. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
not.
no, I know I get what you're saying, but
Yeah,
I know from the other side why one chooses, especially when one needs to pay for everything
and
they and
trust me, I know that side too because as a chairman for the Hispanic Coalition of
yeah,
Small
they do the
Businesses,
same thing,
I
right?
know that. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
yeah,
know that.
they do the same thing.
They got to find sponsors and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, you got to include the small businesses, man. They don't have to include me. I'm okay. I'm good. I'm a celebrity.
Yeah, yeah, I
but
miss.
but include my clients. Include
Yeah, okay. Well,
the
maybe, yeah,
quality.
maybe. Well, we do know that they're getting ready to honor the from the BEP program. They're going to honor all of the participants there. So we
Yeah,
know
they're
that's
gonna do
happening.
the graduation next week.
Yes,
Is it next week or in 2 weeks? I
it's
think.
in 2 weeks, I think, because
Yeah.
I actually am teaching a class next week.
And that's why I'm very interested in hearing what our next guests are going to say because they're small businesses and I want to see how well they're faring in the marketplace and in the community. And then on top of that, they're in the music industry. Woo wee! I want to
you
hear
you
what's
all
going on
happy,
with
huh?
them. I want to hear what's going on with
Well,
them,
we're
what
gonna bring them on in
challenges.
just a few seconds. Let me I do want to tell you, so I'm sitting on a subcommittee
Uh huh.
where and this is kind of interesting, on a subcommittee that we are evaluating nonprofit. There was a $9 million grant that came from the city of Los Angeles,
Very nice.
and it was for small business. For actually it's for, which is very unusual, but for CBOs, community
Hmm.
based organizations.
Yeah.
And the requirement was, one of the criteria is they had to collaborate. It has to be a collaborative effort. So
Right.
there could be no solo anybody doing anything. And they had to be doing it in, they have to do it in the area of workforce readiness or a job training, or a clean energy and video production, I think is what the coordinates, from within the LA County area, preferably the city
Hmm.
of Los Angeles. And uh we're going to divide it up. We're gonna select 25 of these entities.
Right.
And so I've been reading uh, uh proposals, and it's so interesting reading proposals from another side, from the evaluation side, based on the writing side, right? You're writing them because you're needing money for your nonprofit, and I'm the only one that has the financial background we have a committee of 10,
Right.
and so I'm the only one with the financial background. So of course that's what I'm looking for, is to make sure that the numbers make sense. Libby's there, Libby Williams from that was
Oh,
over with
yeah,
yeah,
she worked
she's
with Vermont Slauson.
well, yeah, but she on this committee, she's working with the city now. So
Okay.
so we are all evaluating. So it's so interesting because every Wednesday we have to come together and go over we had the first batch, just did the second batch. Now I'm doing the getting ready to do the third batch over the weekend. And it's interesting how when free money is on the table, people come up with the most interesting things. Now it says it needs to be uh, uh, creating jobs, right?
Yeah.
And then we get, well, we want to buy this building. How
Oh
is that
Lord.
going to create a job?
Oh Lord.
You're
They
buying,
they miss the objective totally. They
right?
miss
So
the
you're gonna
assignment.
use, and then, or better than that is, let me turn this light on. Or better than that is, well, the CEO, we're gonna pay him $200,000, and they're only gonna get four.
Oh Lord.
Wait, $200,000 going to the CEO? What?
Yeah. Uh huh.
so, so it's
That
quite
means they
interesting.
need some training.
Right, exactly.
They
So,
need
but we
some
get to
training.
evaluate and decide whether or not it meets all the criteria. But some of them have been pretty good. I've seen some amazing business ideas. I love the collaboration.
Yeah, that's a
So,
good.
and yeah, I like that. I like the fact that it's forcing people to work together, and that's important. So, all
Yeah.
righty. We're gonna do our little. This is a business zone, and then the go over to our YouTube channel, and then we'll bring a guest on. How about that?
Sounds like a plan to me. For those of you
Okay.
who are listening, this is the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. And if our guests are outstanding, we'll keep them way past 4:30 with their permission. So that's what we do every Friday, folks. If you're a small business and you'd like to get involved with the business zone, you like to promote your business, you like to tell the world about what you do and share your products or services in the marketplace, then this is a place for you. You need to be here. My co host and I, what we do is we try to provide you with all the information you need as a small business to become business ready, contract ready, loan ready, certification ready, and even nonprofit ready. So, this is where we do this. We've got a vast amount of knowledge in the marketplace, in the industry, guys, and that's what we share. You guys don't have to pay anything, all you have to do is subscribe. So my co-host is going to tell you guys how to subscribe to this program so you can stay relevant in the marketplace and even get to access the World Cup procurement that's coming up next year, and also the Olympics that's coming up in 2028, guys. So stick with us at the Business Zone. We'll guide you through.
All righty. So you can go over to our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button, or you can take a snapshot of the QR code here, scan the QR code, and it will take you to our channel. We'd really appreciate it. And while you're over there, if you check out our archives, we've been on the air 9 years this year in July. And so we have we have some class and sessions. Both Gilbert and I are business coaches, so we are sharing our knowledge, and then we have some amazing guests. So go scroll through and see if there's something that catches your eye, and if it does, please hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel so you will always know when we're on the air. And with that, we were going to now introduce our guests, and so we're excited to meet them. And so here we're going to bring them in. Oops. Okay, I think I'm bringing them in. Oh, wait, what's happening here? All righty, let me get rid of the QR code so I can actually see them. Hold on a second, guys. Something's happening. What's that? Oh, here. All righty. Okay, welcome. And this is Paul and Jazelle.
That's correct, Paul and Jazelle.
Well, welcome. We are so happy to have you guys as our guests today.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Business Zone, guys.
So this is Gilbert and Crystal. We're going to send a thank you to Cha Cha McGinnis because she referred you over to us, and we love Cha Cha. She's amazing. And we're going to tell them a little bit about your company, and then you guys can have at it. This is just a relax, like we sitting at home. We've known each other for all our lives. And then I'm going to give you a little hint. Gilbert is a before he took on the business coaching consultant hat, he was actually a reggae. What were you in Jamaica?
Singer, songwriter, producer, performer, all of that good stuff. Even a broadcaster, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So he's always excited to talk to people in this industry.
Always, I'm always willing to learn a thing or two, man. You guys look like some bright minds, and you can teach this old goat something.
So Paul and Jazelle's, their company is called PDM Productions. It is a premier entertainment production company based in Hollywood, California, and they specialize in music, film, television, and event production. With over 20 years of industry expertise, they bring creative visions to life through high quality music production, cinematic storytelling, and immersive event experiences. So we're going to let them tell you the rest of their story. And there we have it. So Paul and Jazelle, welcome. And you know what? Recently, Gilbert and I were saying, we're going to have a show where we have a husband and wife couple that are in business together, and see what those dynamics are.
And here it is. This is our first episode of this year of a husband and wife team. So welcome, guys. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's great to hear. That's great.
Now, can you guys hear me very clearly?
I'm gonna put y'all over here and up there. There we go.
Hearing me faintly?
No,
we hear you.
Oh,
We hear you. So
okay.
tell us about you guys and how all of this came together, and everything about your production studio.
Perfect. Well, first and foremost, we want to thank you both, Crystal and Gilbert, for having us on and having the opportunity. It's an honor to be here. We're excited to talk about how we're helping brands and creatives and communities like Los Angeles bring their stories to life through high quality music, film, and television production.
Absolutely.
As far as a little bit of our journey, we actually met while attending a historically black college and university by the name of Bethune-Cookman University.
That's
I
right.
know. Awesome.
Where's that university? Where's that?
Daytona Beach, Florida, and it was founded
Oh.
by Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune.
Uh-huh.
While attending Bethune, my major was in communications, and that gave me an opportunity to explore many different aspects of entertainment.
And what was her major in?
Well, my original major was in physical education, where I also am an educator. However, in addition to that, I got my master's in entertainment business.
Oh, okay.
That seemed a little suspicious.
we both went on and went to Full Sail together, and
Okay. So this is a college thing. So you guys met in college, and that's
love that.
awesome.
I love that, man.
we met while attending college, and my wife and I both were in the entertainment business track and at Full Sail, and that opened up a plethora of opportunities for us.
You know what though? I gotta give you guys props for the bragging rights that you're demonstrating right now. Sitting in your studio, with the speakers and everything. I love that. See, I tell these small businesses all the time, man. When you do on interviews and in your podcast, you want to have your office set up, so you're in that environment, so people know what you're about. So I'm looking at your studio right now. I know nothing about your studio, but guess what? I would love to come to visit your studio just based on what I see there. You see what I'm saying? Love it.
We love to have you. We're open, like we said, to the community, and we love being involved and active. And that's actually how we got started. We started with opening opportunities up for students like ourselves and doing short films. For us working with a small Apple development firm, and we ended up doing commercials for their Apple accessory campaigns. We produced 3 commercials on YouTube for them, and that actually opened the door for us.
Yes, it did.
Then for music, myself, I produce music and write. So we again opened that channel up through our business, and we had opportunities with Atlantic Records to produce for artists and other industries.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, okay.
So you guys are high level. I love it. So what's that on the wall? Is that an equalizer, or is it a power amplifier? What is it?
Yes, that's actually it's both of those things. It's an equalizer, and it also just operates the speakers here for the studio itself. It doesn't really.
That is amazing, man.
Oh yeah. We have a multiplex studio here in Hollywood where it gives us the flexibility to be able to shoot in-house, record in-house, for visual and audio productions. So we're blessed to have that opportunity.
Okay, what genre of music?
Go ahead and ask you questions, because I could get carried away with this music thing forever. So co-host, go ahead and ask.
Let me ask my few questions, then I'm gonna turn it over to you. So, what all music genres, or what were you in?
All genres, as far as production and writing. As far as myself, mostly hip hop and R&B.
Okay.
Started out with Lupe Fiasco and his team. And then also, I ended up working with Bad Boy Entertainment for a while. And then most recently, Kanye West and his team a couple of years ago when I was releasing my own.
Y'all got real celebrity stuff going on.
Yeah, man. So where in Hollywood are you guys? We're in Hollywood.
Literally in the heart of Hollywood, right here in Vine. We're on Vine.
You're right there where all the stuff happens, all of the real stuff that happens. Well, awesome. And so I know you're an educator. What area were you thinking of being an educator in prior to the switch over?
Well, I actually taught physical education, dance, and she.
Oh, okay. So it was in the same area.
I was gonna say that, man. I was gonna say she looks like a dancer. She has that physique.
I was a dance director for several different programs, superior rated, of course.
Yes.
But yes, I had my own dance studio, and I taught dance for close to 10 years.
Yeah.
So you still have the studio, right?
I do not have the studio. However, I do still have the passion, and I do still have my own dance camps that I put on.
So do you do choreography?
Yes,
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
I do choreograph, and I think that'll always be in me. I grew up around the arts,
I
and
can tell, man. I can tell. Not only do I hear it in your voice, I see it in your mannerisms. You know, that's good. That's good. That's
Awesome. So so how did you get with Bad Boys, and how did that happen? Because I mean, people come in the entertainment industry, and that's obviously the biggest vision that they have,
yeah,
the dream,
yeah.
right? But it takes a lot to actually put yourself in those situations where you meet the people that can really take your career to that next level.
It was merely, I would say fate, but especially in this season, a blessing. Because I was just a mere college student who was really into just the heart and soul of music. I was really into just flipping over the CD covers and really reading more into who was producing the records, who was writing the records. And when I was listening to Lupe Fiasco's second album, The Cool, I saw a pattern of these producers that I was really into their work on that particular project. And I was like, wow, I keep seeing the same name. And so I went ahead and Googled those producers and reached out to them via social media through Facebook at that time. And they responded back, and I sent over my work. And this was actually Chris and Drop was their production team name. And they had done a lot for Lupe Fiasco, and they had been nominated for a Grammy that year for their work. So I was impressed. They even responded back to me in that way at that time. And so they were impressed with the work that I sent over, and we ended up having a few conversations, which led to a meeting in New York. And we ended up actually recording at Sean Combs' studio, Daddy's house at the time in Manhattan. And that led to a relationship with the then head of A&R, Billboard Skid, Daniel Mitchell, who was pretty much heading the A&R division at Bad Boy. And he became my manager after that session. And we ended up working together, and I ended up joining the team even as an intern for 6 months after that with Bad Boy, working in production and things like that, and also producing and working on my own project at that time. So that's what led to that relationship. And then from there, we ended up moving to Atlanta, Georgia, where we ended up connecting with a plethora of different artists and producers, and just expanding our network there. And really hitting the ground and running and expanding and doing more short film work, more music video production work, and of course music. And there we produced a SoundCloud exclusive project where we knew then that we were heading in the right direction because we amassed 3 million streams in 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So decided to relocate here to Los Angeles and plant, and really this was always the place that
the
my
dream.
Wife,
This is the ultimate dream.
we always wanted to plant here and start a family and start our business here. And my wife, she attended high school here, where she competed in cheerleading and things here and dance. So she always wanted to come back full circle.
Yeah, I love my experience here. So I wanted my kids to be able to have that type of experience.
Okay, where did you go to school? High school?
Went to school in Lancaster, California.
Okay.
And I graduated from Lancaster High School.
Oh, okay. So you came inland. Okay. The music industry obviously has all of it has changed a lot since the internet and now AI. And how have you guys, because your journey obviously has spanned over 20 years, and so music 20 years ago was definitely different than now. How do you? What is the differences that you see? The positive and possibly the negatives or the cons of that?
The greatest thing about this particular form of art is the originality of the writing, and you can't really get away from that form of storytelling coming directly from the person and feeling that that experience coming from a human aspect. I mean, AI can they open so many business aspects that you can gain from working with AI and those things. But when it comes to being creative musically, we're a little bit limited there, especially with music production itself. There we especially with in the AI realm, grown to where we can produce original works strictly through AI and give artists exactly what they would want on a one-on-one, human-to-human conversation, building from concept to reality. It's not we haven't grown to that in a technology sector yet.
Okay.
We still have that ability to have a human to human experience and really take something from conception and bring it to reality in an organic way. It's just and especially when it comes again back to the songwriting, you want experiences that especially now with Gen Z, they're really into they call it emo type music. Is more the thing. So they really want to connect more with
Okay, so more emotional connection than just
and
the instruments and things of that nature.
it's a lot more personal.
Okay.
Especially now with social media, everyone wants to see what everyone's doing beyond just the art. So that's now intertwined with the music itself, where a lot of artists could kind of be a little bit more behind. Now we want to know everything. The consumer wants to know everything about the artist. So we're a little limited again with AI having those advantages. We can still have that opportunity to tell those stories in that way.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, Gilbert, I'm gonna let you jump in there because they've been talking your talk, and so Gilbert, his I guess his stage name is actually Gilly Buchanan, and that when he was in Jamaica, and the music, our intro music and our outro music is Gilbert. He actually wrote that, and he and he performed it.
I love it.
Oh yeah. And I have a lot more to do. That's why my questions right now, bam, is gonna be hitting that type of thing. So one of the things I want to ask you first of all is what hit songs have you guys played on right now or in the past? Do you play instrument? What do you do? Or you just produce?
I started with music as an instrumentalist.
Okay.
Primarily, trombone was my horn of choice, but I've played.
Which he is phenomenal and superior.
I
my
can tell
goodness,
that he is,
okay.
man. He's got that look like he's good at it. Did you play jazz? You play jazz a
And
lot?
the trombone is not that easy.
It's not easy at all. Did you play jazz?
I played no. I played jazz. I played symphonic. I played funk and everything because I've traveled. We met actually in the marching band.
Yeah.
So we received scholarships from high school to do it.
That's
so I've been doing this, as Jazelle mentioned, since I was a child. I've been writing scores by hand, but like before we were doing it on technology.
You're a genius.
I had to use a pen and a pad.
Yeah.
So I've been writing scores by hand.
If you can write scores with your hand, you know that means you're in the category of Stevie Wonder and Prince and those guys. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Look at him. He's all modest. He's all modest over there. I don't know.
He performed in a Super Bowl, so don't.
Yeah. Oh, he did? Yes. Which year?
2008, 2009, both Super Bowls.
Where was that?
Wow.
Where was that?
Miami, Jacksonville?
No, Jacksonville and Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Oh man.
Awesome. I'm impressed.
Who was the artist?
This was pregame. We did 2 pregame performances.
Oh man.
Oh,
You know what
wow.
I love about you guys? Okay, I don't know if anyone said this to you before. You already know, but I want to tell, as an outside observer, your wife supports you a lot, and I love that. I love that because being in this industry, I'm telling you, the reason I haven't gotten to the level I wanted to get to, because when I was in the industry, man, the person I was with was not supportive at all of me.
Oh yeah, we
And
heard the pork story that you were saying earlier.
oh yeah, oh man, I tell you, it was horrible. It was horrible.
It's okay though. It's okay.
And I wanted to go on tour and I couldn't because this person was just, hey, why are you leaving me? Are you going to get all these girls? You know, it was just horrible, man. So it kind of stunted my growth.
Probably thought you were going to do the Bob Marley thing.
Yeah, you know.
When he went on tour, he
and you know what's amazing though? I could have done it, but then I said no. You know, as respect for her, I don't want to do. And that's why I didn't go on tour. I didn't do any of that, man. Now I'm kind of wishing I had because you know she's no longer around.
It's still time. Listen, with PDM Productions, we'll put you on tour.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
and I've been telling Gilbert that because that is obvious. Everybody should. I think everyone should be in the passion. I mean, he's very good at what he does, but you have to, whatever it is you're passionate about, right? Especially when it comes to the arts, you really should be in that because it really it really settles your spirit, especially if that's what your given talent that God gave you. You really should be in it. So I'm always telling him he should go back into the studio and write music because he works all the time on the serious side, but I think he would be able to flow if he really got into back to that space that it sounds like he enjoyed when, especially when he was writing our little ditty for the show. He was enjoying that.
You see how supportive my co-host is? I love it, man. I love it. She knows that I love music and it's my getaway, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever I just want that space by myself, man, I just envelop myself in music, man. It takes me to that place. So I'm sure it does the same for you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It does, man. So have you played on any major hit songs or anything like that or no?
Not yet.
Not yet. Hey, guess what? I have the song for you. I have the song for you. Now, the next thing I want to ask you, have you played on any reggae songs?
I've done reggae as an instrumentalist on the horn. So yes.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Which ones? Which ones? Tell me.
I played everything. We used to play I'm trying to think of the name of the song.
You know who the artist was what song it was or no?
I'm trying to think. It may have been Marley, but this was something I did back in college. So it's been a few years, but we used to play. What is the name of that song? It'll come to me at some point.
Oh, there's a lot of them, man.
Yes,
and the thing,
that's what I mean. It's like the
thing about it is there's a lot of horns on reggae. A lot of horns. You know, we love the horns because the horns help the artist to flow. You see what I'm saying? It helps us to flow, and then we like to do our slurs with the horns. You know, like we're having a conversation. Yeah. You know, that type of thing. So it's like we're responding. We're having a communication.
Yes.
Love that. I want to come by the studio, man. I want to see your setup, and I want to see, you know, how we can vibe because, you know, like my co-host said, I've been thinking of coming back in the industry, man. It's been a while. It's been a while.
We need it. I mean, you know, music is one of the only universal languages that exists. So, there's many musicians that feel that they need to express themselves and get it out. There's many millions of people out there that's willing to connect with you. So,
you said you were involved with A&M Records. Is that what you said?
Atlantic.
Okay. So there's a lot of reggae singers who were on the Atlantic label. Okay. So, and they're amazing. You know, one of them is Maxi Priest. One of them is Dennis Brown, my idol. And you'll see a lot of my work has a little flavor of him, you know, and there are other prominent artists, right, that they've been on the Atlantic label, man. And Atlantic is a very diverse label.
Yes.
You know, They've got the R&B side, they've got the hip hop side, and they have the reggae side.
That's right.
Can you imagine combining all of those? Oh, that would be amazing.
Why not?
I want to do a little what do you call it? Reggaeton as well.
Ooh.
You know, I tell people this. They don't believe me. This guy is full of it. But I was the first one who did a reggaeton song.
Really?
Back in 1981. First person.
Whoa.
It was in Panama, but it wasn't released, worldwide or anything. First person. Then all of a sudden, I see all these reggaeton artists. And I'm like, oh, man, that's my stomping ground, man. I'm the one who laid that. But yeah.
So with that, so Gilbert had indicated when he first told me he was a musician that and I assume that everyone needs to know this when they're coming into the industry, who to trust and make sure that you get all the rights. And so, Gilbert, you want to tell them what happened, and then how are you? Because I know you said you want to reach back to small businesses today and kind of guide them. Is that what you guys' plan
I
is?
want to help to guide them. I'm sure you guys have been through some stuff too, because
man,
you see what I'm saying? If you've gotten to a label level, a level of a label, you've gone through some stuff.
Yes, sir.
Because they don't play nice.
Yes,
they
sir.
do not play nice. They see us artists as slaves.
Yeah.
And you're lucky if you get some little pittance from them, right?
Yeah.
So when I went to Panama in 1981, right? And I took some of my songs there with me. I just recorded co-host. I just recorded this song, Minomix. You remember that song that you listened to, Minomix?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just recorded it, and I was all excited about it, man. I'm going, this is a hit. So I went to Panama. There are 4 major studios in Panama at the time. Maybe they've got more now because people are recording from their homes, right? So they had 4 major labels. One is Padisco, one is Sonomundo, and then there are 2 others that I don't remember. But those 2 were the 2 main ones. So I went to the dude, wrote my song, produced my song, recorded and everything, right? So he said, I give you 12%. I said, you mean you're going to give me 12% as a writer, as an artist, as a producer? That's 36%. He said, no. I'm giving you the 12% overall for the whole production. I said, no, we're not doing that. Homie, don't play that. Because they haven't done anything to my song. All they're doing is getting the recording, the tape. Then they're gonna master it and produce it. I mean, and release it. They're giving me 12%. I said no. So after I left it, and another thing that I recognized when I went in the studio, he said, "Oh, let me hear the song." So I thought about, do I want to play it live? Do I want to sing it live, or do I want to just play the tape? So I said, I'll play the tape. Because if I sing it live, I don't know what they're doing. That was my suspicion. And it turned out my suspicion was correct. The dude had a recording underneath his desk. And I did not know that. I did not know that. So he had a recording under his desk. So while he was playing my song, I'm thinking, what if he has a recording under his desk? So then I looked down, man. I saw it going. The tape is rolling. I'm going, cut this, cut. Don't want to do this anymore. So he got upset. So what he did, he called his other friends, the other 3 friends in the marketplace, and tell him, hey, this dude, if he comes by, he's bad news. You don't want to do business with him. So they blacklisted me in Panama.
That is crazy.
That's why my reggaeton song was never released, because of that. You see what I'm saying? It was horrible. It was horrible. And the thing that I have to my advantage, beside me producing my song, when I went to Panama, and have you guys ever been to Panama?
No.
Okay. When I went to Panama, somehow I got connected with this radio station. It's called 99.1 FM, right?
Yeah.
They go it 99.1. So That was a station. That dude was ready to play any song that I had, right? And I think that's how they heard about me. And man, so I wouldn't have to worry about them playing my song because I got this dude as my buddy. He was gonna play, you know. Horrible things, man. So that was one side. Now from the Jamaican side, I did this recording for this producer. He's dead now, you know. I did it for this producer. He took it to England. It went on the top 20 chart. And guess how much I got for that song? For 2 songs. How much I got for those 2 songs? $200. That's all I got. $200 in compensation for those songs. And he took my publishing. See, that's the one thing I want to let young artists know.
Yes.
Whenever you got any production, anything, you want to make sure you get your publishing. If you get nothing else, get your publishing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if the producer takes that, they pretty much own your song. They can do whatever they want with it.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I just want to share that, man. Those are stumbling blocks. I shared with my co-host, and she couldn't believe it. She said, "What? They did that?" Yeah.
Well, for one thing, I guess, and I'm sure you guys know this. Everybody's, you really want. I mean, this is something you really, really want. So if someone is telling you that they're going to be there and help you, and they're very convincing about it, you don't know, especially if all you've been doing is doing the music, not understanding the business behind the music.
Exactly.
So how did you guys deal with the business behind the music to make sure you could get to where you are today?
That was taking the education route, and we were again blessed to start early because we found our passions when we were in school. So that led us right away. When I started having those opportunities, when I was interning and things like that, that was at the latter end of my bachelor degree. So I knew from that point I was going to have more knowledge when it came to the business side. Because I had already grounded myself when it came to the creative portion of everything. I had already worked myself up into a place where I felt very confident in my writing and producing and performing. So I knew that for me was to really make sure I had the knowledge base to support what I was going to be presented to the world. I didn't want, I could see a lot of the things from friends and associates that were going on around me. And I knew that wasn't a path that I wanted to take or I wanted for my family or our business. So we decided that we were going to take it a step further and get a master's degree from a top school that specialized specifically just in entertainment. So that we could open up not only our knowledge base but our alumni base as well. And
that's great.
That helped us to really have a support system with Full Sail behind us to have people that study entertainment law. Where we can get advice and knowledge in that way. And we even took courses on those contracting. In contracting and negotiation.
Oh, awesome.
See, that's beautiful right there. Because that's a part that Prince taught in his interviews throughout. Because no other artist really knew that. He knew that because he went through it. You know, when you sign a contract with a label, right? They're signing a contract as is at that point in time. But you got to think ahead, like 10, 20 years ahead when you're signing a contract. Because when Prince and those guys signed contracts, right, it was just about the number of, they had albums back then. So the number of albums that you can sell and where it's played and all of that. That's what it was. It didn't include CDs. It didn't include merch. It didn't include performances on concerts and none of that. You see what I'm saying? So the record label took all those proceeds. They just give you a little money. If they give you a little $50,000 to perform, a lot of artists are excited about that. Oh, $50,000, that's great. That's nothing.
Well, in most cases, they don't even get. They get the perks, right? They get the, and they think they're living large, and that's that's kind of the part that you see in Hollywood or in the entertainment industry, especially the music industry. The little rappers, they're not educated, and I think the way you guys should be doing master classes in that to young people that want to go into the entertainment business, the business side is really, really important.
Yes.
If you
Most
want, right? If you
Yeah.
want longevity, because when you look at you look at the big stars now, and they're in the 50 Cent, they were educated
Yeah.
Mm.
because they've been able to parlay their business into an empire, but
Yeah.
without the education, and you're just all excited about the talent that you have, but then someone is definitely going to come along and exploit you because you don't have that. Yeah, you guys should be doing master classes
Yeah.
how to survive
So,
in the
so,
music
so,
industry.
so, Paul, do you have a master's in communication or
And entertainment business. I have
entertainment business?
my
How
BA.
about how about Giselle? She has a master's too in that.
Same
Yes,
thing.
masters in
Same.
entertainment business.
That is so amazing.
Thank
That
Yeah.
you.
is so amazing, man. Yeah, you gotta listen to my co-host, man. You guys gotta do masterclass, and even if you don't teach it physically, just put it in a tape in a recording and put it on your website, man, so they can go there. Charge them. I don't know, 49.99
Yeah, because
or whatever.
for the outside,
Yeah,
from the outside, it look because it does. It looks like all I need to do is have talent,
yeah.
and I'm gonna and then I'm gonna make it in this industry. But it's so much more than just the talent part. It's how do
Talent is
you
only 20% of it, man.
right
20%
exactly.
talent.
Yeah,
Everything else is the business, the know-how, the knowledge, knowing how to network, knowing how to pick people you want to be around, because you don't know that until you get involved with them, that the person you're involved with is a snake.
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
absolutely.
Oh
so do you
man.
guys are you so do you manage as well, or you just actually how does PDM work if you're reaching out to or someone was reaching out to you?
Well, we operate like a studio.
Okay.
Whether we're filming a music video or producing branded content for a
Absolutely.
corporate client or just building a live entertainment experience, what makes us unique is our background, and of course in music and film.
For sure.
So every frame we produce is purposeful, is visually engaging and designed to move people. That's our objective. So again, whether that's from a
major
audio
brand.
standpoint, visual standpoint, major brand, or just
An indie
an
artist.
indie artist that's looking for an opportunity, we've made ourselves a one-stop shop for those primarily three sectors: the music, film, and television, and even live entertainment as well. We have also, that's a new hub that we just expanded within the last few years or so. But we really are just really into community based things here in LA too, especially and beyond. We've done international works as well.
Okay.
We are just we're open for those opportunities when it comes to anybody that's willing to work.
Yeah, we want
Okay.
people's story to life.
Yeah.
The best
You want
way.
to bring
Way possible.
okay. So how did you guys meet Cha? Is she coaching you, or is she doing that through the Urban League, or is she doing that on her or outside in her with her own business?
We ended up connecting with Cha through the Urban League.
Okay.
She's our coach. She's
Okay.
with us now for almost a year, and it's been amazing. She's helped us. She's been a huge help, a great blessing
Yeah,
for us.
Cha is amazing. I'm a coach for the Urban League as well. I do the financial piece of for a number of the cohorts that they do, and then I have some of my own clients that I do help them set up their financial structures and so forth over there.
I'm
That's how
actually
we know Cha.
familiar with your work and your I've been in some of your meetings through Intuit actually.
Yes,
So
thank you.
Have you? Okay.
your insight is
Absolutely
amazing.
Yes.
I'm very familiar with your work. Yes, you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You remember?
Yeah.
You remember? I was saying that the musical talent is 20%, and then the rest of it is 80%.
Yes.
She's part of your 80%. That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
bookkeeping and the financial piece. It's very critical because when you have songs released, and especially if you're going through a label, which I don't think you guys are going to do right now, knowing what you know, you're gonna try to do it yourself, right?
Yes,
And
that's
that's
what
So,
what we
we've done.
did.
We've
Yeah.
become completely independent.
yep, that means you're going direct to consumer. You're not going through these people
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna route it around and take all the 60% of your money.
Exactly.
That's
So,
correct.
so my co-host is someone like her is valuable to you guys because one, you get your books in order. Two, you get to know how to audit their books, how to audit the record company's book, because they'll tell you, hey, we only sold 300,000 copies, only to find out that it's 3 million that they sold. So you got to know what books to audit, how to audit it, what books they should have. You see what I'm saying? So
Mm.
that's what you guys are bringing to the table that many other artists don't even know.
Yeah.
I love the fact that you guys have your masters in entertainment and music, man, because you understand it. They're gonna teach you. That's the thing. They're gonna teach you a lot in school about the craft, but the most of what you're gonna learn is in the streets, man. You're gonna learn a
Yeah,
lot in the
yeah.
streets.
But I think it does that. My nephew went to SCAD,
Oh.
yeah, he went to SCAD, so he did in film and production, and so he just graduated last year. So I've introduced him to some of the people that I know, and I'm going to introduce him to you.
I was
Please,
going to
I was
say, I
just
was going
gonna
to
say
ask.
that.
I was definitely going to ask.
Yeah, because he's trying to, he did a couple of, I think he actually did for one of his projects, he did a music video as one of his projects when he was at SCAD. And then now I have him, I introduced him, one of my friends, he's a photographer, but he also does a play production. His name is Ian Fox. So I introduced him because Ian knows everybody in the industry, and so he's been doing photography for him and videography. So last week he had to go somewhere, and we're like, where are you going? He says, oh, just somewhere. He gave us a name, somewhere in Hollywood. So he came back and he was showing pictures, and I said, wait, you were hanging out with Kendrick Lamar? He and he said, yeah, I don't, and he said, it was amazing.
That's beautiful,
He
man.
was at
That's
some big
beautiful.
mansion, and but I knew Ian have the right, and then he's been connecting with he was introduced to someone else, and he's been doing, I guess, vertical films. And so he's been, but behind the scenes. And we told him, you have to learn all of it. You just, you can't go to the top. And but he does want to be a director at some point. So he's been like the grip behind the scenes, and he's worked with him a couple times. But I would love to introduce you to him. This is something he decided he wanted to do. We didn't even know this was an interest of his until it was during the pandemic, and it was 2020 actually, and he says, I want to go to SCAD, and we're like, where's SCAD? Where is that? And he said, it's in Atlanta. I said, you want to go to Atlanta now? In the pandemic? And his mother was the same way. And I said, okay, we got to back that back down. We got to be encouraging. Okay, so how we gonna do this? And we got to back that other stuff back down so he won't be discouraged. And but he did the first part of it online, and then he went and spent the last 2 years his junior and senior year. So he graduated, and he had a fantastic time. We didn't think he could do it because he had never left home before, but he did, and he loves what he's doing. So I would love to introduce, at least just to show him what this looks like, and to make sure that he takes the right path. Because I told him it's very important to have mentors that are in the industry that you want to be in, and the guidance of that, and it is more than one mentor. It's all aspects of it. So
Right.
I would love to do that. And so he can get kind of immersed into really, really what he wants to do.
Yeah,
that'd be great. I would love to have that introduction. We would love to meet him and,
bring
get
him
plugged
on.
in and bring him in and work together and see what we can come up with. That'd be awesome.
Okay, all right, I'll make that happen. He's out there doing something today. I'm not sure who he's working for today, but yeah, I would love to do that. And he loves SCAD, and SCAD seemed to be an amazing school when we went down. Wow, I mean, just the talent in all aspects. And when we were we saw the graduation, and they had all of their work displayed. It's like, oh my God, this is high level stuff.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys been there?
Yes, when we were in Atlanta, their campus is there. They have a campus in Atlanta, and we actually
okay.
a close friend of ours who
That went to SCAD.
went to
Did he?
SCAD.
Yeah, he went to the one in Savannah, but but I think he did go up a couple times.
I'm sorry,
Savannah. Yeah. So it was so funny. He was there, and he had to put together the whole production from hiring to managing and all that sort of stuff. So he he had put his advertisement out there, and I guess in school you can't charge or they don't get paid or whatever it is, so they're doing it more. And so he had to negotiate that. And this one young lady was just giving him the thumps, and she was like, negotiate. He's like, but we can't pay you. Why are you doing this to me? And he was calling home going, how do I handle this? And then it turned out later on, I said, well, if this is not the direction you want to go in, then you have to find someone else. And but she really just wanted to get her hair done. That's all she wanted. She wanted to get her hair braided. I said, well, just give her the money. Just let her do that. If that's the only thing you wanted to do. And so that was so then they went and rented out houses, and he had to pick up the equipment to do all of that, right? You guys know what that is. So he calls us. It's late. It's like I'm still up. His mother's asleep. And it's in the middle of the night. It's like, oh my God, he's calling. Oh my God, what has happened to him, right? And he's calling. He goes, Auntie, I can't open the front door. I said, what do you mean you can't open the front door? Or no, I guess the battery had went out in the keyless pad because it was like an Airbnb kind of thing. And I said, and he says, I don't know where to put the key, or what should I do? And so I was like, so now it's 2:00 in the morning in Atlanta. And I said, well, maybe you can go next door. And I thought, oh no, you're a black man in Atlanta. No, you can't go next door. You can't tell nobody anything. I said, and I said, can you go out the back door and come around? And then that way the front door is locked. And he was like, it's dark out there. I can't go out there. So, I had him put the phone. I said, let me see the door facing. And by this time, his mother woke up and she heard me. So here we are, a troubleshooting from LA. Keep him from the police showing up. And all the crew had left. He was the only one left there. And I said, well, Travis, next time, don't let the crew leave you there all by yourself, because they probably y'all could have worked this out. But it turned out it was just a regular door. I said, just close the door, call the man in the morning and tell him, look, the battery I couldn't open the door because the battery is no longer working for the keyless lock. And he's like, okay. But we had to laugh. It's like, okay, well, he still needs us.
That's right. That's
good.
Right. Honestly, everything that he went through and experienced during that time, and the negotiating skills that he gained from that experience, he's well on his way.
Yeah.
He's equipped to do huge projects, from big projects to small projects. He'll be able to do all of that because now he's had that firsthand experience, and that's really what it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like when he was going through the project, or when he was going through the classes, and then the business side of it, which I think is so important. So he was calling me, because that's what I do, and he says they want me to do this, and when they were saying, I was like, that's what my auntie does. So then they kind of map out what it would look like to start your own business, and the marketing piece, and then this piece, and so. So yeah, he got a lot out of that, and because I don't think in some cases, if somebody just want to go into entertainment business, they just go. They don't do that pathway, and I think the education piece is so important.
Yeah,
of that. Yeah.
What really helped us with Full Sail, our kind of like our thesis. Instead of our thesis, it was a business plan that we had to put together, and then we had to go out and present it, and we had to find funding. We had to go to a bank. Like, that was a part of the final project. So to be able to have that experience and know exactly what a business plan should entail and how you should present it and all the various sectors and aspects of it, and then how to try and secure funding, I think that's what really set us up for success.
Yes, our final was actually to defend our proposal and make it to where it's actually fundable or something in a way. Like, it was a way that it could be something that would be funded if we could present it to a bank. So that was our determination of whether we graduated or not. So, that was a huge help for us, because that ultimately led for us to be able to work as an independent company, because
because you already knew what it took to. I think that's excellent. As an entrepreneur, I teach kids how to be entrepreneurs, and they have to write a business plan. And then they're going to pitch their business plan. In fact, we've got a competition coming up in a couple of weeks on May 3rd, and I'm working with them tomorrow to get their financials together. I've been doing that for about 15 years with an organization, but it's through the Urban League. So I work with the adults and the kids through the Urban League. So now, you guys are in the.
I'm asking for my own kids. How old are the kids for this program?
13 is the printable age on the street. But if there's a child that has a business idea or in business, even if it's selling, candy at school, but they kind of got that entrepreneurial spirit, we've taken kids as young as 9. In fact, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, the child at 1 was 10, and Anthony, he had been selling since he was 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did promotional gifts and things like that, and so his parents bought him a Cricut, and I mean, he was a salesman. He was a salesman to his heart, and so when he pitched his business, and he's telling everybody, when I was a child, you're 10. But when I was a child at 5, now what? You're grown. Right. But yeah, so that's how old are your kids?
8 and 6. So I was like, well, he'll be 9 this year, later on this year, and he's starting to get into creating his own businesses. So that would be interesting to at least give him that a solid foundation.
Is he doing anything musically or no?
Yes, he is actually doing musically.
Yeah, they love to emulate the parents.
Mm-hmm. And he's probably picking up a lot from you guys as business owners, because a lot of our kids come in. I've noticed my kids that are that have so they compete in this business plan. We do a 3-week cohort in June and July, and the kids have to create a business. They have to come up with an idea and a concept that's going to solve a problem, and determine what the value proposition is. And then by the 3rd week, they have to pitch that business, and they're pitching amongst their peers in their age group. And so we give them, we pay them to participate in the program. They get $200 stipend. And then we teach them how to, we have a sales day, and they get a $40 investment, and then they have to set up their market and do all they need to do. And it doesn't have to be the business they're creating, but something. And then they have to invite friends and family, do the marketing piece, and they keep the money that they make. And they have to pay back their loan, their $40 loan. And then they have to tell us what their profits are. That's on the sales day. And then what y'all had to do, right? And then they have to then they compete. And so the first prize is $750, $500, and $350. And then if they're really interested in business, then we have a year-round program that is online. The summer program is in person. And then the online program starts in October. And then we come around to May, and they're actually competing in 3 competitions. So, with the program the curriculum that we use. So our kids in the fall program, they come into my program it's like, look, dudes, let me tell you what our history is. So you have to know we're winners, and
Right.
so that yeah, I don't take anything less than first and second. I want both. And they're competing citywide. And so last year, the kids won. They were first and second. And then they went to nationals, which is in New York, and they pitched to kids around the country. 19, it was 53 other kids, 50 other businesses, and our kids won first and second place.
Wow.
And yeah,
Great.
yeah. So first place was $10,000, and the second I think was like 25. But he also got an opportunity to have a 45-minute meeting with Damon John.
Wow,
So
that's awesome.
That's super cool.
so it's on YouTube. I'll send you guys the video clip. He created it.
Please.
Yeah. So and then and from there, because he won first place in nationals, he was actually able to pitch in the internationals. So he was pitching with other young people like himself from Ukraine, Palestine, I think Israel, and Mexico, and I think it was Japan. And he was doing extremely well. Lost by 2 points to the Palestinian and the Ukrainian. And I told him, I said, "Well, that's a hard one right there, man. They were right in the middle of both wars." I was like,
Yeah.
what can we say?
Facts.
Yeah. So I got kids that are going to be competing. I got one or two in this group that possibly we might get to nationals. So yeah, so that's what I do. And if you guys are around in the summertime, we love for people to come in and talk to the kids.
Let's do that.
So
Absolutely.
okay, well, I'll make sure. So we're kind of excited this year because we're doing it at the El Camino College. So the kids will be on how we will be doing the both classes at El Camino, and then the graduation will be at El Camino. So they'll feel like they're young college, junior college students. So
That is great.
I love
yeah,
Great.
yeah. So this is a program. So were you in the Intuit program last year, or?
We're in this cohort. We're in the cohort.
Oh, okay. Okay. There's so many of you. I couldn't I can't distinguish them. Last year it was only 35, but this year 50 people.
Now.
Yeah. I was at the
Now you'll know
how
who
many
you
now?
are.
Yeah, I saw you. Yeah, because I was at the opening. I spoke at the opening, and then and I'm doing all of the. So I saw you guys. You guys saw me the other day then, because I was doing the. Yeah, yeah. So here's the thing. You guys rise above most of the class, because most of the creatives that I've last cohort and this cohort, if they did, if and some of them did go to college, but the industry was not what they went to school for. So when it comes to running a business, there's still neophytes in that space right there, and that's what the purpose of the cohorts is, to make sure in the creative industry that you understand that this is a business. And it needs to be operating like a business.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, you see, from their standpoint, they had the extended education, so that was good. That was beneficial to them. Many in the entertainment field, they don't really go to uh, extended learning. They just learn what they learn on the street from whomever. But these guys are going about it the right way. Now, I'm looking at those speakers on the wall. What type of speakers are those? And it looks like they look like some 6-inch speakers, right?
These
Like
are
three in each one, right?
these are JBL.
Oh, those are JBLs. Ah, beautiful,
JBLs.
beautiful. So which ones do you use for the highs? You have little ones, the little bookshelf ones on your mixing board?
Yes. Well, when we depending on the project,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now we have the room turned around a little bit differently, but
Yeah.
we're catching the speakers in the back. But normally, this will be a whole different
You
setup.
turn it that way, right?
Yeah.
This turned a different way, and then we bring
Yeah.
the engineer brings in different equipment to go with whatever project we're working on. So
yeah, because this is a multifunctional.
it's a multifunctional space. So
Yeah.
Okay.
we usually do different arrangements based on the project that we're working on. So.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the reggae rhythms sound like in that room, man. Because I like your soundboard on your soundproofing on the wall.
Yes.
The acoustics in here are.
I can tell. I can tell. I see
Yeah, just the way you guys
on
are
the wall,
speaking. Yeah,
man.
you can tell.
Hey,
Wow.
reggae have a solid bass line and drum. Those are the key components: the drum and the bass, and then you got the rhythm guitar, the snare, and all of that. The foot drum is really key.
Yeah.
Then the vocals. So yeah, I can't wait to come in and test it out, man, because I got some heavy rhythms that
Let's go.
they test your speakers.
Let's go.
Yes.
They test your speakers, man. And here's the thing. I've been looking for a soundboard that I can do some recording on. And those recordings will probably be pre-recordings to what you are doing in your studio. So I'll do the pre-recording on this soundboard first to get it to where I want it. Then I come into your studio and do my thing,
Yes.
So that's what I like to do. Now, do you do mixing also?
No, I don't mix. I have a mixing engineer that I work with closely. He's Grammy nominated, and because I've relocated to Los Angeles, we've been working exclusively, especially because he's tied to another major studio.
I get that.
So
Because that's one of my big tests that I use with studios to see if they know how to mix. Because reggae music is not easy to mix. It's not like a regular, you see what I'm saying? It's not a regular type of thing where you just you use your eyes, the mid and the bass. No, you gotta do some other things, especially when you got vocals in there. Yeah. So so I'm curious about that because my co-host and I, when I was doing this promo, the intro song for our show, we tried to do the recording at the studio that we were at. It was what was it called? Was it a radio station? What was it?
No, Morris Media. She's actually mostly podcasting.
It's a voiceover
She
studio.
says, yeah, she has voiceover. She does voiceovers now, but podcasting is her thing. She so when we first started, I didn't know anything. I don't have a communications degree. Mine is accounting. But I don't know. I use, my thought process was podcasting would be a great way for marketing. And especially because at that point, I didn't want to really do one-on-ones with too many clients anymore. I wanted more to B2B. And and they had to see who I was and what I did. Now, Gilbert had been doing his stuff out there for a while. But and then I'm the co-director of an organization called Recycling Black Dollars. And so Muhammad Nazardine, when he founded RBD, which is the concept of keeping our dollars in our community, one of the ways he was doing that was through a radio show at that time, and then a weekly radio show, and he had a newspaper. So I was like, okay, well, we were looking at a way to expand exposure and really get our people embraced with the concept of keeping our dollars in our community. And so the podcast, so I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll do that. And I was playing around with it, and I was like, but I'm not quite sure if I want to do it at home, what I was going to do. And so she, Poetess, she actually was a female rapper in LA. How many years back, Gilbert?
Oh man, she was a rapper back in the '90s with Queen Latifah and those female rappers back in that day.
Yeah. And she worked for KJLA.
MC Light and all of that, right?
Yeah. And she worked for she worked for KB Stevie Wonder's station, radio station,
KJLA.
KJLA. So for years, and her father was a major sound engineer. And so, so she had the opportunity to open up her own studio. So she's right there in Lamert Park on Crenshaw, and she has a number of entertainers that come down there and do their shows out of her place. So that's how we got started, was and sound engineer and everything. And but I didn't want to do it by myself. I wanted to have someone to kick it off, to kick around with. And so I needed someone that would be my co-host. And so she came to a meeting of mine, and she was talking about it, but I really wasn't hearing. And then she called me on the phone and she says, "So you wanna have a podcast?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm not quite sure." She goes, "Come to the studio." Love the studio. And then but I needed a co-host. So Gilbert and I we were getting ready to do he we were in a building. He was teaching upstairs, I was teaching downstairs. We had met before, and he came down and asked me did I want to help him with this a contract that he was getting teaching accounting at junior college, Mount St. Antonio, Mount Sax. And I was like, sure. And I said, "Do you want to be a co-host on a podcast?" And he's like, "Sure."
There we go.
But you didn't know I knew.
I had no
anything about
idea.
radio and broadcasting.
Yeah.
So the day when we were signing the contract is when I revealed to her. I said, "You do know I have experience in broadcasting." She said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I've been doing radio." Because I went to Binghamton University, upstate New York. It's a SUNY school. So we did radio in school. So they teach you how to do radio. And then, and then after that, I went in the community and I was broadcasting at one of their local radio station. I think it's called WBCR or something like that. So, so my thing is reggae. That's what we do. Play reggae and we toast on it. And we did it differently. We brought in fellow artists and we have them perform live on the air. So people would love our show.
Perfect.
So that's what we did. So when I was telling Crystal about it, she said, "Really?" Because she thought she was going to be doing this all by herself. I said, no. I can help you out here. So
yeah. So between him, because I had never done any of this. So between him and the Poiters, we had a good thing. And then when the pandemic, we had to switch over to streaming, and so that's what we were in a studio at one point for about 4 or 5 years of the first 5 years we were in a studio. Yeah. And then now we're doing streaming, but and it just, for me, it was a marketing tool, and it was an incredible marketing tool. But since that time, I've launched 2 others. So I do one on Thursday and I do one on Monday. Somebody else wanted to do it, so it's his show, but I sit in and we talk about retirement. But now it's no big deal, huh?
You should probably bring them on the community briefing, because there might be some people in the community who hear what they do and say,
"Oh yeah,
let me check on these guys."
We actually had
man, you never know.
Yeah. So the community briefing I launched during the pandemic, and it was to make sure everyone knew where our small businesses, because our businesses we don't get the information firsthand. We get it like it's old, and by the time you get there, it's like, okay, can you sign up like tonight, because this is the deadline. And so I wanted to make sure during the pandemic that our business owners knew exactly wherever the money was that was going to be able to help them, and that they would be there at the front door knocking on the door like Walmart instead. And so I launched it then, and it really wasn't to be a podcast. It was really just an educational webinar that I did. And then after it ended, I don't know, it must have been like 100 people on that Zoom call. And then one of my friends said, "Hey, I want in on this." "Oh, in on what?" He said, He says your podcast. I don't have a podcast. That was a webinar, and but I said, but wait a minute. And so since that time, we've been on that. We've been on the air for 5 years for that one, 9 for this one, 5 for that one. But last week, 2 weeks ago, we had Isaac Hayes, the third from Fanbase.
Oh
We
yeah.
had him on. Yeah. Yeah. He came on to talk about fan base and really a nice guy. And then the week after that, we had Damian Wilkins. It's Dominique Wilkins's nephew, but his father was Gerald Wilkins, basketball player. And so he does a program in Atlanta called the Outlanders, and is a training program. And they actually semi pros kids. They come into a program and they pay them. I think they get 100 grand a year, and then a lot of them go on to go on pro. So we've been getting some interesting people on of late. But that's the whole idea: is to introduce the people out there that are doing things in our community that you would normally not get to meet. And to our population, and then it is archived on YouTube. So, but yeah, so that's what we've been doing over at the but yeah, I can get them. We can definitely have them, you guys, on there as well.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
would be. I think it would be a good thing because some of the local folks will get to know them. Who knows? Kendrick Lamar might hear you guys and go, "Ha!
Hey,
Let me check them out."
let's go.
Right. Or who Darian? Is
Oh
Darian?
yeah, Zarian. We can also
Darian.
connect with Zarian. Zarian would be a great addition to your network
Okay.
because he's a writer producer. He produces a lot of Black Love films. So if you go on YouTube and you type Black Love, you'll see many of his. He sent me a co-host. He sent me a short recently, man, and I'm going, damn boy, you're good.
Oh yeah, he's good. He did.
he,
What was the one he did
did
with
it.
the cow where they actually were riding horses out in the
Yeah,
valley?
yes. He was saying he did a short on Black Love, showing the black folks, how they used to ride horses, and that's how they used to meet each other on the horse. Like you take a Uber right now, go meet somebody, you would take your horse and you'll meet a female somewhere, and it was just amazing, man. And right now he's doing a little documentary on I'm trying to remember the group. It's Native American mixed with the black slaves. They call that a name. In Jamaica, they call it the Maroons, right?
Mm.
But here they call, what do you say?
It's called the what is it called? No, he's doing something on. Let me see. What is he doing here?
Yeah, man, it's
Florida's
amazing.
Negro War, I think. Yeah, you
No,
guys need to meet Zarian. He's a really amazing, young, amazing young guy. Really passionate about what he does, and I think they actually funded. They funded their last project because they were raising money for it, and it was all on horses. They were riding all through the valley in horses somewhere out there.
yeah.
But it was pretty good, and so actually, that's where that where you recorded.
I
You
did
work?
it. I did it over at his buddy's place over in South LA, somewhere over there, 110th Street or somewhere around in the hood.
Okay.
But it was good, man. You know what I like about him? He doesn't know much about reggae, but he'll learn. He goes out there, and because when I told him what rhythms I wanted,
Yes.
immediately I said, "How do you know this rhythm?" So he found it, man, and I was able to voice it at his house, man. It wasn't man. He and his buddy, So the theme
Yeah, so
song.
maybe you guys could do some collaboration. But
That's
he's
what I'm saying. So I
Yes.
can't wait to check out his studio, man. Because if his studio has the sound that I'm looking for, man, we're definitely gonna do some work.
Go.
Oh, the group that he did it on is Seminoles. Seminoles.
The
That's
Seminole Indians, and
yeah, the Seminoles Indians. That's a group here in the U.S. that
Yes.
they
in
back in the
Florida, right?
back in the slavery
Mm-hmm.
days.
Mm-hmm.
They're runaway slaves, and then they met with the Indian Native Americans,
Yes.
and they came together, and that's a group right there. So
Yeah, that's literally our family story.
oh
Oh,
really?
is it?
Yeah,
Get out!
and the Blackfoot Indians of the Tallahassee, Perry area of Florida.
Yes,
Hmm
you guys are
Okay.
from Florida.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what he was
Yeah.
saying.
Oh
They
yeah,
went to
yeah. I should have known
Bethune.
that. You said that earlier.
Well, yeah, you have to make sure we'll have to introduce you to him. So one of the things that Zarian did, they, raising money was a thing, as you guys know, and so he came up with a new concept. So he and a buddy, they bought a rig. And they've been driving back and forth cross country, and that's how they're raising the money to do their films. And then I think now I think they have like 3 rigs out there, and so doing long hauls. And then he comes back in and he takes that money and reinvests it back into his films,
into the music. Yeah,
into his music.
he's gonna do great, man. Because that guy is phenomenal. I mean, he helped me. The theme song you hear on here, he helps to produce that. You know, he even did background vocals in it. I'm going, dude, how do you know to do background vocals on reggae songs? You know, but he was good, man. He was good. When you hear this again, you will hear his voice in the background and all of that, man. They produced it and did all they need to do, man. So it was just amazing. So I would like to transfer some of this to your environment and kind of hear how it's. The reason, see, I have a different approach to reggae combo right now. I don't just want to do straight reggae. I want to do reggae combo. I don't. Have you ever heard? Have you ever heard this female artist? She's on YouTube a lot. Her name is Queen Omega. Have you ever heard her?
No, but I'll
look her up.
Yeah.
So she did a song. She did a remake on Dr. Dre's rhythm. Dun 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 dun. It's like people wouldn't believe it. They're going, wait a second, and she sounds good on it, because she's the thing about Jamaicans when we do rhythm. If you can't ride the rhythm, you don't belong on the rhythm. You hear me? You gotta ride that rhythm like you're riding a horse. You gotta be on it like that. So if you can't ride that rhythm, and she ride that rhythm so well, man, it's like even Snoop Dogg heard it and said, "Damn, this girl, she's doing good." Because that's their rhythm. That's their rhythm, right? So that's kind of some of what I want to do, that crossover. Okay. So I want to take some of the hip hop rhythms and I want to do reggae on it, or I want to do reggae and kind of turn it into hip hop. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you can master that, guess who is the leader on that? You're bringing that to the marketplace. You see what I'm saying? You're bringing something to the marketplace that the marketplace has never seen.
Yeah. So obviously Gilbert needs to come into your studio.
Yeah. Kind of like how the Latinos took our reggae music and call it reggaeton because they speak Spanish on it. That'll be you, man. That would be you, brother. That would be the PMD sound.
Right.
So what's the ultimate? What are you guys' like 5-10 year plan?
Our ultimate goal is to expand. That's our number one goal. We're our base, our audience, our reach, our network.
Absolutely.
It's in general. That's what led us to our program, Intuit, and work with Cha Cha, and just all those things, and especially with us being new to the
LA,
things like that, and making that transition from Atlanta to here. It was very important to have a strong support system here in LA from a business standpoint of things, and learning how to navigate, because it can get a bit complex in a new city, and especially as one as large as LA.
Absolutely.
You want to make sure that you have a great, strong support system like LAUF, and We were very fortunate to be a part of this cohort program that we're in now, so that we can have the opportunity to really ground ourselves here in LA, and then take that experience and again go back and expand and grow beyond just this territory. And
Oh, awesome, awesome. So what have you gotten? What has been the best part of the Intuit program besides the fact that y'all got a live bookkeeper?
you um, just everything, networking, the in-person events has been great. Again, working with a business coach like Cha, and that's a huge advantage to be able to have someone to just say, hey, I want to run these strategies, and what do you think? And marketing, and that's her specialty. And then having even to be able to to give us financials and things like that, because again, I've sat in a few of your meetings, so and those types of things are good for us as CEOs, and to gain new insights, and that's what we've done over these last few months. So it's given us a huge edge and advantage, just being a part of
Oh,
that.
awesome. Yeah. So after they turn you guys loose on your own, after the program is over, which I think is what in
October.
October, I think it's October. Then being able to then make sure you can use the system yourself until you can hire someone to do it. But I always it's important for the CEOs and the business owners to know how it works from your end, so that when you do hire, then you're hiring the person that's going to do it the way you want it done, and then give you the reports that you require. The next cohort you guys might want to jump in on, because there's an introduction to the guy that does reviews all the projects that come through HBO, and that's the MBDA program. So it's a shorter one than the Intuit program. Is 6 weeks, but in that time, it's preparing you when you need capital and going out there looking for money. And then at the end of that cohort, you actually do your pitch to a number of bankers that they invite you, that invite to the live event. That's the graduation, actually. Is that, and then so if there's money, if you guys on the back at some point need that kind of capital, then they walk you through and then introduce you to those bankers. So I've been doing that. That program just kicked off a couple weeks ago. So the last 3 or 4 weeks, that's all I've been doing, the financial workshops and so forth. But in that one, I think our last financial workshop is in a couple weeks, and myself and the guy from HBO, I think his name is Isaiah, and then Clay, who's also with the Urban League. Clay is in the VC. He does the venture capital coaching and training, and crowdfunding, which is what that fan base is. And that's what Isaac Hayes said, that he used his money, about $250,000 of his, but then they needed more money, and because they're building this platform and they wanted to be comparable to the Instagrams, and it's more like a Instagram. It's more like TikTok, and it's more like Clubhouse, because it has all those different factors to it. And so these three women told him about crowdfunding. He knew nothing about it, but they introduced him into how to go about doing it. And so they set up a starter. It's a switch starter engine, and you invest $3.99. That's the minimum, and you get 60 shares of their company. And so I think up to this point he's raised about $20 million. In that. So that's what that. But that was his next, because he said, sometimes, a business like fan base, a bank really won't understand that because it's not traditional, and they not quite sure how you're gonna get paid. And generally the social media platforms, there's no money until once they go public, and then they start creating methods for revenue. And sometimes even your industry is not for banks. Sometimes that's a little risky for them. So knowing how to present it to them when that time comes is important. So when that one rolls back around, you guys should jump in on that one as well.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
So and you should get.
go
Go ahead,
ahead,
Gilbert.
go ahead.
No,
So,
so you should get notification because you're in the system now.
Okay.
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, Gilbert.
so Paul, in the name of your business, you got PDM. So I know the P means Paul and the M means Morris. What's the D for?
You'd be surprised. That's actually my initials, my middle initial for my middle name. So
So
it's
your
Oh.
first, middle, and last, huh?
yeah, all
Uh,
my,
I'm just curious. I pay attention to those things. Okay.
actually it's a childhood dream of mine that kind of
Yes.
came
Yeah.
to fruition. I always admired Michael Jackson, and
Yeah.
his company was MJJ Productions,
Yeah.
and so
Oh, okay.
as inspiration
Mhm.
to do the same.
Yeah.
Even as a child, his grandparents created business cards that said PDM Productions. So I feel like this was always
Oh,
supposed to
really?
happen.
I always want to happen.
The
See,
grandparents did
I would
that?
have had Paul in my class because he would have already
Yeah.
come with business cards.
Yeah. That's amazing. I like that. I like
A
that.
prerequisite to coming into the
Yeah.
business to the biz camp is to have your own business cards.
That's
That's cute.
amazing. That's how you know you're going to be an entrepreneur, man. Because here's the deal. In our
Yeah.
community, we don't really have people grooming us to be entrepreneurs. They want to send us to school and then send us to go work for the man. And can you
Right.
get rich? Can you get rich working for the man? Heck no. So
Mm-mm.
the
Mm-mm.
only way you can get rich, other than some other things, is to be your own business owner, be an entrepreneur, and then you can determine how much revenues you bring in based on the effort and the connections you make. You know, so I'm glad you guys are doing this. You're doing it younger than me because I started later on my entrepreneurial journey, but you guys are early and that's good, and that's why you're getting the level of coaching and support, mentoring from me, Crystal, and Chacha.
Yeah.
So just take that and run with it, man. Just do as much as you can, because what you're doing right now, you guys are building legacy for your kids and your grandkids. You see what I'm saying? That's what you
Yeah.
guys are doing. So keep it, once you look at it that way, everything you do, every decision you make, you're going to make it with a purpose, because you know you're making it for your kids and your grandkids, because you don't want your kids working for the man. It's horrible.
No.
It's horrible. I went through student loans and all that crap with the man, and he was overcharging me, man. I took out a $46,000 loan. I ended up paying like $93K, and they're still telling me I owe $30K. I'm like, what? That's loan sharking, man. So my thing is, this is what I tell my young entrepreneurs. I said, listen, you can go to school, and if you know what you want, so let's say they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or someone like that, or an engineer, then I'll encourage them to do a 4-year school and beyond. But if they're not going to be that, then I want them to think entrepreneurship. And all you need school for is like 2 years. That's all. As an entrepreneur, 2 years. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And then you get out with your 2 years. That means you won't be committed to the man for too long. Only 2 years, right?
Is that like California, where they offer for you to go to community college?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
what. Yeah, that's what my nephew did. He did 2 years
Yeah,
at West LA College, and then
yeah,
he did his 2 years at SCAD. So his brother different though. His brother, which is in sports education, so
yeah.
he did his bachelor's at Ohio, um, in Ohio, Dayton, and then he went from there to Houston to do his master's. So he did it all at one time. So he
Yeah,
got his master's.
sports education, you have to go
Mhm.
next level. You have to go high. You have to go to the master's level, and then probably PhD, depending on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And you guys, you guys did well going to the master's level. That's good because not only are you learning the foundational level in the music and communication business, when you start getting higher, like the bachelor's and masters, and you start learning the business side of it. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
But they did
Even
the
though, go
they did
ahead.
an HBCU, so that's a whole different kind of experience. When you go to an HBCU, that's one of the things my nephew was the older one was upset about because he always wanted to go to Howard, and he was trying to get his buddies to all go to an HBCU, and they were all procrastinating, he had planned. He's like Paul. He didn't have his business cards, but in eighth grade he knew he was going to somebody's college, and so
Yeah,
he was ready for college at 8. I mean, in eighth grade, and but his buddies were all procrastinating, so he ended up going to Dayton, and he didn't enjoy it because it's predominantly white, and Ohio is very racist, and so he went to Howard for their homecoming, and he was like, "Now this is what school was supposed to be like. This was the college experience." And so then when he went to Houston, uh, he wouldn't. It wasn't a HBCU, but the HBCU was up the street from where he went to school. So
Yes.
he got the same experience. And I actually got to go to my very first HBCU football game. My cousin's husband is a coach for Lane. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
yeah, so I got to see with the bands and the trombones, and it was like, oh, how cool! But we
Yeah.
don't have an HBCU out here. I was like,
you know,
oh, cool.
I think it's good that they went to an HBCU, but at the same time, I'm wondering because I've seen this, because I taught at Pepperdine University. I've been to all these other places, and I see what they do for entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And I went through the program myself. I did business management, OD, organizational development, and all of that at the master's level.
Yes.
And all they do is they regurgitate what some other dude wrote like 20 years ago in a book. And they have you going through that and telling you that management, business management. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they do the same thing at the HBCUs, or they really bring in real entrepreneurs like us to come in and tell you guys the real deal. Because when you go through their program, their MBA or their master's program, they don't tell you that people who look like us, we experience what they call redlining. They
We're
put
not
us
at
in the
Pepperdine. They
category.
wouldn't.
We don't get lines of credit. We don't get loans. We don't get any of that to start our business or to gain access to funds so we can grow our business. We don't get that. So I want to know if they teach that at the HBCUs as well, because I know the other schools, they don't teach that.
Well,
See what
Well, for us, our experience was, especially in my department in mass communications,
Yeah.
what really attracted me to that program because I initially started my matriculation in business administration, and then once I really decided that music was going to be something that I was going to primarily lean towards,
Yeah.
I switched over to communications. And what I did was I really was taking a peek at the professors in the program.
Yeah.
And what I loved about that particular program was that all those professors were in their fields prior to them becoming professors at the college. So whether our TV production professor actually worked in TV production for the local news network and things like that. So every one of our professors were in the field to be able to give us insight into those things. And so all of them also sharing our same identity as far as race, they were able to kind of say, hey, okay, well, this is how we're going to go a little bit within, textbook, and then we're going to go a little bit out and say, this is how it'll be for us and our experiences. So
that's good to know
oh,
from
yeah,
that side.
That was unique for us. And then, of course, with Full Sail, we had a different experience because we were able to differentiate. We had our HBCU experience that gave us a little bit more of, hey, this is what we give you textbook, as you explained earlier, but then also us as a cultural aspect of what we have to experience. We got that under undergrad, and then in our graduate program, it was all, this is what it is in corporate America, and this is what you have to do. We didn't get to have that same cultural connection that we had when we were at Bethune. So that was the difference that we gained from attending those two different colleges. We had two different experiences. So yes, we did get a little bit more of insight of what it would be like for us as entrepreneurs in our race to be able to you get it beyond just a textbook and say, okay, an experience, a real life experience, this is how this goes. So
because to me, if I'm and this is what I've been trying to do with universities right now. Uh, I have a degree also in communication. Mine is not as high as yours. Mine is an associate in communication. But after I got that degree, I realized, man, that degree is crap. I can't make money with this. You know, after I graduated, from my 2-year college, they were trying to pay me $7 an hour. I'm going, what? I said, man, I gotta take this next level, and that's why I went into the business side of it. I start doing OD, organizational development, organizational uh, management, and all of that. And then I start working, doing case studies with big companies like IBM and those guys. And then I start seeing it that way. But even then, you're learning about Drucker and what's his name, Peters, and all those guys. And that's like a book that's written 20 years ago. The business principles today are different. And nowhere in those books they talk about redlining. We experience that the hard way. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think you would get for me for college because I went to SC. Was more of the networking and how you can utilize that. Now, I have a different take on it. I felt it was important, and I tell my students this. I think it's important for them to go to college. However, whether it's 2 years at the junior level and 2 years at the
Undergrad level.
undergrad level. But what you want is one the connections so that because I do think everyone should work in corporate America and a successful corporate America so that you can see how you scale your business, especially for small business owners. And don't look at it from this is just a drudgery job. It's look at every aspect of it. Learn what the marketing department does, learn what the accounting department does, learn how if it's a leader and they're a great CEO, learn how they run a business and how they do their negotiations and grow the company. And then you should have an exit date. And so on that exit date should be, a good 10 years, you get a good vast. And if depending on the industry you're in, you can kind of get a lot from different. So I was in the insurance industry in the beginning, but counting was on the backside of it. And I used them to send me to school to get what else I needed that I didn't, so I wouldn't have to pay for that. And then after that, it's time to leave. But you've learned a lot, and you've seen something that you wouldn't see if you were not in corporate America.
Yes.
And then you get to leave, and you get to take everything. And if you acquired and absorbed everything that you could learn, I call that your PhD lesson. That's your PhD class, and they pay for it, right? And then you can come out, and that's kind of how I got my base, was to utilize it like that. But it was intentional, and I had a 10-year, 15-year deadline, and so I exited at 15 years, paid into the system. So I made sure that I could get Medicare and Social Security when I got old.
Those are some of the things I'm talking about that
Yeah.
Young entrepreneurs need to learn. Because yes, it's good that you go into corporate America and you learn for a year or two or even three how the organizational system works and all of that, right? Networking and developing all of that. They also need to learn that they need to gather that 40 periods of Social Security.
Yeah, that's why you go to 10 years.
Exactly. But many of them don't know that, though. That's what I'm saying. They don't know.
Right.
So they need someone like us to kind of teach them that, because the other guys are not teaching them.
Well, no, they're not going to teach you that. No,
You see what I'm
but no,
saying?
you got to get you.
So that's why I'm saying we need, if we're gonna have entrepreneurs coming out of HBCUs or the other institutions, we need folks like us. Like, for example, and I'm not bragging about this. For example, when I used to teach classes for the Latino Business Association, right? They had a professor from Pepperdine University that was teaching the entrepreneurship class. And when I went in there, the entrepreneur said, "Oh man, your style is so different than this dude. This dude, he's a professor. He came in here and he's teaching us like, professor stuff. And we can't relate to that. How do we run our business that way?" And that's because he's reading those 20-year-old books and telling them those principles, right? But I'm giving them street type of knowledge, what we
Yeah,
go
well,
through every
you're
day.
not. They were academic and you weren't. You were an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So
Right, exactly.
I'm sharing with them what we go through as entrepreneur. If you're going to bid on government contracts, what do you need to do to prepare yourself? If you're going to get loans or lines of credit, and I wanted to share with you guys when you were talking earlier. Do you guys do? Because I know you do audio, but do you do videos also?
Yes.
Okay, video production.
Yes.
Perfect. So what we need to talk, maybe Crystal can talk to you and Chacha talk to you about this. You guys need to set up yourself so you can go after contracts with the state of California, because they have events every year and they need people like you to produce their events in terms of audio, video, or put a promo together. And I'm telling you, take it from the horse's mouth, because I've been there and I see them hire certain little mediocre group to do their production, man, and they hate it. We're not paying them for this. This is trash. So so those are the contracts you guys need to start focusing on, and those contracts are not just 1-year contracts. Those are like 3 years and beyond. You see what I'm saying? Plus, you're a small business, so you get certified as a small business. You see what I mean? And you get in there, you get a piece of that pie. Plus, Crystal and I talk about this all the time on the show, that the World Cup is coming up next year.
Yes.
We got the Olympics coming up in 2020 year. They're at 2028. You guys are going to need, or they're going to need people like you to produce those videos, those shorts, those promos, to introduce groups and all of that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually,
That's right there.
yeah, so yeah, could be, and the Urban League. So once you guys have completed the program, the Urban League does a lot of video production. They shorts and so forth
Yes.
for especially Cynthia is really big on that. And they'll do a State of the Union. They did a State of the Union not long ago. So you definitely want to make sure that they know what you guys do, and talk to Ken and John and put together whatever you're going to put together so you can share it with Cynthia, who is the CEO of the Urban League. And then, then of course the Urban League has, I think it's like 92 different other urban leagues across the country. And so, uh, yeah, that would be a good idea. That would be very good for you as well, because coming in from the inside. And yes, we're trying to get our businesses ready for the Olympics. And so one of the things, if you guys sign up with the Ramp LA, I went to a meeting a couple weeks ago, and so they're gearing up for that. And so when you're signed up through Ramp LA, then that's kind of the starting point.
Yes.
And yeah.
If you go to the Urban League website when this show is over, on their homepage, you should see a video that I produce on there. It's a promo video that I put together when I was the entrepreneurship director down there. So check it out. You'll see it, and I think it's like a minute long. You know, those kinds of videos are the kinds that you guys want to start doing for organizations like the Urban League and all the nonprofits and even the state of California. Because what I did, I introduced my entrepreneurship program to the world. through those videos. All right, and we talk about the benefits, the features, and benefits of the program, that type of thing. So take a look
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah,
Take a
they
look at it.
use it. They use that quite. They've done
Oh, they
it
use
for the.
it.
Yeah, well,
They said
yeah, that and they use
that's
we
good.
have several that were done for the kids.
I'm glad they use it. I'm
When we
glad they're
were
using it.
promoting, yeah, when they promote the when we promote our biz camp program. In fact, I think there is one when you actually open it up when you go onto the biz on that part of the website.
Uh
There's
huh.
a promotional video that they did. Well,
Right.
guys, we're gonna have to call this wonderful conversation to an end, but we have enjoyed you.
It's been awesome.
This has been
Thank you so
amazing.
much
Thank
for having us.
you.
We are very thrilled to have met you and meet you in person because I only see you on the little bitty screens. Now I'll be looking for you when the next time I'm teaching a class.
Yes.
Um,
And
and
we're going to
also,
go outside of this because we definitely want to link with your nephew. And there
yes,
were a few other people that you mentioned.
yeah,
Yeah.
We want you in the studio soon.
Yeah.
So we got to figure out how to stay in touch.
Right.
okay. Well, we will make sure I will send you all my information
Crystal will give you guys my info.
yeah, and then
And
I'll introduce you to my nephew, and we want Gilbert to reach out to Zarian and then make that connection.
yeah, I want to
And
do that because
there's another young lady in the program with you. Her name is Audra Bryan.
oh, she's in the program too.
She's in the program. Audra has a
Dude,
beautiful voice.
you gotta connect with it. She's a singer.
Yeah, she's an
She's a
entertainer.
singer.
She's a
She doesn't like
yeah.
to talk about that she's a singer, but she's damn. If you go
Mm,
on YouTube and you type Audra Bryant, you
yeah,
see a
she's got a
whole list of
beautiful
songs that
voice.
she's done.
Oh, of
She's got
course.
a great
That's
one.
wonderful. That's great.
I told her I want to do a duet with her because I see our voice blending very well, man.
Yeah,
So
she actually has recorded. She's done some recording.
yeah,
Um yeah, she's in the program for her coaching business. But that's
she got a song called Scars. I've got scars, baby.
yeah, so
Way,
she's in
yeah, yeah.
yeah, she got
I've got scars, baby.
I
I
can't
love it.
yeah, she was when she was a child, she had a really tragic accident. She was burned by some coffee, and so it covers a great portion of her body. And so she created music. That's how she evolved
That's her
from it.
therapy.
It was her therapy was that she has a beautiful voice and she did a couple art albums and so forth. So yeah, so if you guys are in your next in person one, yeah, Audra Bryant.
You
So
know, come
she's
to
in
think of it, co-host, I think it would be a perfect match for them because she's looking to get on that level. You guys have some connection in that level. So, and her voice is ready, so you don't have to do a lot of work with her, you know?
yeah,
And
she's
you
a
guys
really
get together, man. Woo wee!
Ah, let's
You can
go.
yeah.
own that stuff. You
Let's
remember I
go.
tell you about PDM?
Let's go.
That's the new genre of music right now. Okay, PDM baby.
Let's
That's
go.
right.
Let's go.
So we'll make all that happen outside of here, but we do want to thank you so much for being on the show, and it's great to meet both of you. And look forward to working with you myself. And definitely wish you continued success in what you guys are doing.
Thank
And
you.
also this link is going to be available on YouTube. So if you go when this is over and you go to YouTube, you'll see this show. So you can
Yeah.
just copy the link, you can chop it up and market it, That's our give back to the community for you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go. We're prepared.
Awesome. So we will I will make the introduction to my nephew when he gets home. I'll have a conversation with him and then so whatever however to help him in that pathway to make sure he's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
As he learns all that he needs to learn. And then yeah, we'll make all the other introductions and Gilbert will get in the studio and do his
Right.
thing over there.
I'll see if I find the link to this intro send it to you guys so you can check it out on your speakers so you can hear that
Yeah.
JBL sound,
Right.
that JBL sound back there. Okay.
Okay, and then when your kids are ready for biz camp,
Yeah.
if they're interested in playing tennis, I have a program that we teach kids how to play tennis down in Los Angeles. Yes, we teach them from the ages of 4 up to 18. We have an amazing program. We do Saturday morning, every Saturday morning. The kids come out. We have some fantastic coaches, and we're trying to grow. We're looking for that next Serena and that next Tiafo.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll send you all that information. But it's
Please.
been great talking to you guys and meeting you, and we can and whatever the next chapter is. And again, yes.
Do
All right.
do you have the
Huh?
show connected to your speakers right now?
No, otherwise we would have heavy
Oh,
feedback.
feedback. We'd have a lot of feedback. Okay. Because I was going to tell you that I'm going to play the outro right now. You can hear the bass on your system, but no, we'll do it another way.
Once you
Huh?
send it, we'll play it. We'll hear it. We'll listen to it. When we
Yeah.
send
And once you and then Gilbert, that gives you the encouragement to get over there to the studio.
it.
I will, man.
Yeah.
Just make sure I have the address. Um,
I'll give him everything so
you
he
know
can.
what? You know what? I have a meeting at 5:30, but when we get off the air, I can give him my number.
Yeah,
So
I'll send it. I'll
stay,
send everything
so
over to him.
so stay on the line if you want, and then I'm gonna play the outro, and then I'll give you my number. How about that? Sounds
All
good.
righty. All
All right.
righty.
Well,
Well,
folks,
everyone, let's wait. There you go, Gilbert.
folks, this is the Business Zone, and we had a very great guest here, PDM Productions, and that's Mr. Paul Morris and Jazelle Morris. Both of them are just amazing entrepreneurs, guys. You got to check them out. They've got an amazing studio in Hollywood. You guys got to check that out too, because I'm gonna go check it out. I want to see how amazing the sound is and the engineering and everything like that. So check them out. If you're thinking of getting into the music business or you're already in the music business, you gotta go check out the studio, guys.
Yes.
And we're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30. My co-host Crystal and I. You can find us on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So after this show is over, you can just go straight to YouTube and you'll get our link. You can copy that and play it over and over and over again.
That's right.
We'll see you
All righty.
guys.
Bye bye,
Take
everyone.
care.
See you next week.
See you next week.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes I'm an entrepreneur.
All righty. Yeah, man. So let me give you my number. It's 626. Oh, co-host, we're still live. Co-host got me live.
Yeah,
Co-host got me live, man. Where did she go? Hey, co-host, what's going on over there? You got me live. Let me try to. Okay, let me.